All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of barbecue, sports and golf. This is All in Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. We are almost halfway through the season, so we are going to take a look at what we've learned about the Colts so far and what we think will happen the remainder of the season. So let's go All in Colts.
That's right. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam, and we are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All in Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yeah, it's a good time for halftime break.
Yep.
So we are going to give superlatives to some players and go through the remaining schedule to see where the Colts will finish the season.
Yes. Superlatives. Yep.
Superlatives.
Those things that you see at the end of yearbooks that says the most likely to succeed, most
Some
likely
awards
to,
for simpler terms.
right, most likely to take over the world in a cyber attack.
Yeah, class clown is a classic one. Yeah.
Yep.
Never won one of those. It's fine though.
It's okay. It's okay to just slide under the radar sometimes.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just surprise people later. Speaking of which, who is your most surprising player of the year halfway through? Almost, because like 8 games, 9 games, it's hard to be halfway through when you have 17 games.
Yeah.
Kind of like they have a plan here or something to do something about that.
Yeah. Most surprising player
On the Colts.
on the Colts. Yeah.
Yeah. Colts. Sorry. Don't be confused here.
Yeah. Here, let me look at the other things that we have just in case I don't want to.
Okay. Surprising player.
Yeah, no. I got it then.
All right.
I think what it is Anthony Richardson. I'll explain why. I almost went Rigoberto Sanchez on it.
Oh.
Because I'm like, but then I'm like, nah, I knew he had it in there that whole time.
Yeah.
I know our punters are terrific. Not terrible.
Yep.
Terrific.
There you go.
Anthony Richardson. And I know as soon as you heard that, you thought bad and you would think correctly. From what he showed last season to this season is so much different. Like, it's almost like a different type of AR, I guess.
Even the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm. The first
He's
game.
getting worse, right?
It looks like he is getting worse. Which I'm having faith in him until we don't have faith in him. If that makes sense, that's just kind of how I'm rolling with it for right now. I don't know. I think AR was a lot more than this. I think he still has room to improve, and his ceiling is so high, but his platform is also pretty low. We had a whole fantasy talk about ceiling and platform. You can go back and find that. I don't know when it is. I can't help you there.
That was just before the season started.
Yeah, I think it was some fantasy episode like the week before the season started or something like that.
Yep.
It was towards the early on in the season. So you can find that if you want to listen to that whole topic. Basically, platform, you want a guy with a high platform and high ceiling. Obviously, high ceiling is more important than anything because that means there's more room to grow or more room to succeed, I should say. I think AR has a high ceiling just because of his physical makeup and what we know that he can do from what we saw last year or at the beginning of the season. I mean, and he can, but like, I don't know. It's still technically his rookie year. Like, he didn't play a full season. He played maybe 3 full games last season. So I'm not worried about it just yet. So
All right.
we'll see whenever that happens, though. If it happens, hopefully it doesn't.
All right. My most surprising player, Sam Womack.
I like it.
Didn't have something, had one bad thing happen to him against Houston, but had been playing lights out until then. I mean, the reason he's most surprising is because he showed up week before season started, picked up on waivers, and like we didn't know what he could do. We were unsure. we like that he came from the Niners, our other team that we really enjoy. And then, but we knew like he's going to be in a backup role, that kind of thing. And then Brents gets hurt, other things don't work out quite the way that the Colts had intended. All of a sudden, Sam Womack is in there and he's playing really good. So, Sam Womack, my most surprising player. So far, halfway through the season, your rookie of the year for the Colts.
Not Adonai Mitchell.
Shocker.
I think
Could be there.
I'm gonna go with the obvious one. I think Leatu Latu. I think he's been performing really, really well.
I called it.
You did. I think he's been performing really, really well. I don't know exactly where he is in the race for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I know he's top 5, somewhere like that.
I would
Jared
say
Verse.
after Thursday Night Football, Jared Verse put himself up there for sure.
Jared Verse
really
is, I think
Darnold.
Jared Verse is number 1 as of right now. But I believe that Leatu Latu definitely has a chance. He needs to step it up more. Not that he's doing bad at all. I mean, he's my Rookie of the Year for a reason. Or Rookie of the halftime season for a reason. But I mean, if he wants that Defensive Rookie of the Year, he's got to go after it and get it.
Yeah.
I definitely believe he has the capability to do it, though. That is one of the reasons he was picked up as the number 1 defensive player in this draft.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. I'm going to go a little bit deeper here. I think you'll find this to be a theme in my picks here. I'm going to say Dalton Tucker.
Okay.
Undrafted, rookie free agent. Called him to make the 53, made the 53, and then my quarter season MVP Will Fries went out. Dalton Tucker took over. And have you heard Dalton Tucker's name mentioned at all since he'd been in there the last 2 games straight? 2.5? Not at all. You know what is the ultimate compliment for an offensive lineman? Don't talk about me. If you talk about me, it means that I am messing up. If you don't say anything, I'm doing just fine. So Dalton Tucker seems to be doing just fine. And it seems way too easy to give it to the experienced guys, be it the tackles on the outside, be it, obviously Quentin Nelson. But, Quentin Nelson's had his issues here and there. Dalton Tucker, rookie of the year for me.
Yeah. I'm going to switch it up and have you go first this time.
All right.
Who's your defensive player of the year?
Defensive player of the year, Tuffy here. A lot of good candidates, surprising guys as well. Jalen Jones stepping up, EJ Speed doing things. Grant Stewart, if he had been in there, may have been up there.
Yep.
But we didn't get an opportunity to see that. So I'm going to go with an oldie but a goodie here. Most tackles in the league for the past 3 straight years. In the past 3 years. Since the beginning of the 2022 season.
Yes, yeah.
Leading the league in tackles, Zaire Franklin.
I love it. I figured you were going somewhere around that. I didn't know if it was either Franklin or Speed, though.
Not a deep cut there.
Yep. I am going to go for a little bit of a deeper one.
All right.
Being someone who I don't think you talked about or mentioned yet.
Oh, okay.
Nick Cross.
I like it.
He has stepped up into a massive role with the lack of safety that we've had. He and Jalen Jones and Sam Womack all stepped up massively. So now it's not all on Kenny and Blackman and the linebackers. Nick Cross, I would say, is our best safety out there. I would say he's better than Blackman as of right now. He's been performing better. I believe he's in the top 10 for tackles in the league as a safety.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean our defense sucks necessarily. It just means that
It's just around the ball.
he just has
Yeah.
a head for the nose for the ball, not a head for
Yeah.
the ball. So I really like watching him play. He plays with such versatility in the run game and pass game. He knows when to switch, when to go for the ball, when to play more of a coverage role, outside contain, inside contain, whatever it is. He knows what to do, when to do it, and I just like how much he's been able to step up.
I like it. Your then MVP. Halfway through the season, you got to pick an MVP. Most valuable player on the Colts team. Who is it?
You want to take a guess first? Don't think too hard.
Jonathan Taylor.
Bingo.
I
The team is so different without him. And I said coming into this year, he is a top 5 running back, and I will stand by that. He has performed so well in all of his games. I think he's maybe had one iffy game. Now, so waiting for that big blowout game that he's going to have in Buffalo. Yes, I'm calling it.
Buffalo's at
again.
home.
Well, against Buffalo.
Yeah.
He just seems to perform really well against Buffalo.
Yeah.
5 touchdowns?
Yep.
Last time? Yeah.
Yep. 21.
Yep. I had him on my fantasy team too. So anyways, I think the team is so much better with him. The offense is so much versatile because we have so much more that we can do. He's great in the screen game, even though we haven't used him that much that way. He's amazing in the run game. Obviously, he is such a patient running back. He reminds me of a lot of Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell used to just sit behind. If you watch some of his highlights, you'll see it. He used to sit behind his offensive line for like a good second and kind of just prance around back there and then find a hole and go. He would wait for his O-line because he trusted them to do their job. And that's kind of what JT does with us. He's a very patient running back, but whenever he gets through the hole, he explodes and just goes. He's got a really high speed, even though he doesn't look like that. He's not necessarily the strongest running back out there, but if he needs to, he'll put his shoulder down, try to run you over. I think our offense is just much more effective. Yes, we have Goodson and Sermon, but they're not JT. I believe that one day they can work up to be close. Probably not the same level, but close. And I think Jonathan Taylor is definitely a top 5 because I'm off the top of my head, I would say top 3, but there's probably a couple people I'm forgetting. So as of right now, top 3 running back in Colts NFL history, Colts franchise history.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
right up there with Marshall Faulk and who's the other one?
Edge.
Yeah. Right up there with them. So
yeah, I like it. I am also going to point out somebody who the team is just not the same without, and that would be somebody who they were missing the first 2-3 games. That is Josh First Downs.
Oh, he was missing because my defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Whoops. But also that moment might have made him your defensive player of the year thanks to the coach and the talk. So, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. Thankful that it all worked out in the end. But Josh First Downs, when he is involved, it's a different kind of game. When he is not, it's a different kind of game. What he does without the ball to get the ball is unparalleled. What he does once he has the ball in his hands is amazing for his size. And I'll just leave it at that. Josh First Downs is nicknamed by us Josh First Downs because he gets the first downs. He keeps the chains moving. He doesn't have to be fabulous. And it makes it even that much more fabulous when he gets a touchdown. And then we get to call him Josh Touchdowns.
I like
so. The Colts currently sit second in the division at 4-4 behind Houston at 6-2, and the Jaguars at 2-6, and the Titans at 1-6. Not so worried about them much anymore. Our preseason predictions before we go through this. I was at 9-8.
And I was at 11-6.
Yes. I, at this point in my preseason prediction, had them at 3-5. I had them winning against the Packers and at Houston, and then losing to the Steelers and the Dolphins. Those were my wrong picks there.
Yeah, and I had them at 4-4.
Yeah.
So I got this part right. Other than I said they were going to win the opener against Houston and lose to the Dolphins, they ended up just switching that. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So you got the record.
Obviously, we didn't know the Dolphins were going to, be the way they were then.
Right. And they were way different with Tua, weren't they?
They were. I don't know if they won, though. Did they?
Yes, they did.
I didn't put Tyreek in, which kind of sucks, but, it's fine.
Yeah, I left him out. You'll have to come back on Friday for our predictions on the Vikings game this coming week. So that means as we go through the rest of the season to see where we think they'll end up, we're going to start with those Bills. They got to play the Titans at the Seahawks and the Dolphins before coming to Lucas Oil.
I think ultimately it's going to be a loss for the Colts, although I believe that Jonathan Taylor is going to have a big game like I just predicted earlier in this episode. I don't see a reason for him not to. The Bills' defense is good, but it's not good enough to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, the way that the Colts playing now and the way the Bills are playing right now, I don't see a way for the Colts to win that game. So I have that as a loss.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think it'll be closer than people think. I think it's going to be a one-possession game again.
No, really? The Colts in a one-possession game?
I know, right? Which means we keep up with people.
Yeah.
Also means we should beat people that we are in a one-possession game with, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Got to do more than just keep up. Yep.
Next game in New York, playing the Jets. Sunday Night Football as of right now. They're playing the Jets before this played the Patriots in Foxborough. Texans on the Thursday Night Football game. And they also play in Arizona, but they have the bye after us.
Right. So we play a team.
Have conveniently placed buys.
Right. Team by after, not by before. This is the first time this has happened. Most of the time it's by before, including next week with the mini bye because the Vikings played on Thursday night. But we'll cover that later on Friday. This game against the Jets, surely they can win this game. Surely the Colts can win against the lowly Jets that just lost to the lowly Patriots. But I think they'll figure some stuff out by then. And it's in New York, and it's prime time, which the Colts are infamously not good at. Maybe it'll still be prime time. So I'm going to say they lose it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to say they get it done. I think the New York Jets have too much to put together by then. I think at this point they're kind of, tanking. Obviously, that's not technically allowed. But we are going to use the term tanking. Because that is a thing.
Hard to say you can or should do that with that kind of roster.
It's sad, but they can't get anything done. So I think it's going to be a win for us.
All right. Lions go to Lucas Oil Stadium. They play at the Packers, at Houston, and then the Jaguars, and then they got the Bears on the short week of Thanksgiving after the Colts.
Do we want to talk about this?
Do we want to talk about the?
Actually,
I don't know.
It's going to be a loss. I don't think there's a shock to many people about that. But we're going to lose by 1 point.
Oh, that might be a shock.
Shane Steichen is going to do the Dan Campbell Classic and go for 2.
Wow.
He's going to go for the win, but we're not going to get it.
The way the things are going now, I'm saying Colts get blown out. They get blown out. Might as well open the roof because that's how much the Colts are going to get blown out.
Wow.
I mean, the way the Lions are playing and the way the Colts are playing are on 2 different planets right now.
It's true.
Right now. And this is several games away, so we'll see. Next
We
game.
will see. Next game is play in Foxborough against the Patriots. The Patriots play Bears, Rams, and Dolphins beforehand, and then they play the Cardinals after us.
Yes, it's in Foxborough, which is always a tough place to play. The Patriots look like they're putting some stuff together. Got to be honest. But I got to put a win here somewhere, right? Somewhere that one of these games are going to. I've picked all losses, so let's pick them to win this one.
I think they're going to win this one. Last time they were in Foxborough, it was also late in the season, and it turned out a lot better. It turned out well for us. So ever since Tom Brady has left Patriots, we've played pretty well against them.
All right. Bye week.
And it's a win. It's a win.
Count that as a win. And then another potential cold weather game playing in Denver. Denver coming off
a bye. Yep.
And then they got to go.
Both teams coming off a bye.
Right. And then they got to go at the Chargers the week after divisional opponent.
It is the battle of the horses. Once again, the rematch of the terrible Thursday night football game a couple years ago. I think it's going to turn out the same way. Hopefully not as bad scoring-wise, but I think the Colts are going to get it done against the Broncos.
Broncos are playing really well. They're hitting a stride. If you remember, the Broncos beat the Colts in preseason, working out the edge run, and I think they do the same kind of thing. And Colts lose.
Okay.
Colts lose. Can't play cold weather games.
That makes sense. Next game is the Titans at home. Before us, they play the Commanders, Jaguars, and Bengals. And then after, they play the Jaguars. So 2 division games in a row. In the road for them. Yeah.
The Titans have that the backloaded AFC South schedule as opposed to the Colts. At this point, this is definitely a win. I may totally eat my words here, but it's a home game against a team that's already given up on their entire season 8 games in. So this is a win. It's almost the end of the season. They're playing for a draft pick now.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. I think we're going to get the win here. Although I think it's going to be sadly closer than it needs to be.
Division games normally are.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we've got back in New York to play the Giants. They play the Saints, the Ravens at the Falcons, and then they have the Eagles in Philly right after to end their season with a divisional opponent.
I think this is going to be a loss for us, a surprising loss. I think some people will be surprised about this. I mean, obviously I'm calling it now, but whenever you have a stud like Malik Neighbors, who even is having amazing games with Daniel Jones as your quarterback, and then you pair that with our DBs. Not saying our DBs is bad; they can hold their own and stuff, but it's hard. I mean, Malik Neighbors reminds me a lot of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Funny, he comes from the same place as them. Yep. Seems like LSU just breeds great wide receivers. So
when I was watching the LSU A&M game, I just kept thinking, man, Colts need to get an LSU wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. So that I think, sadly, we're going to lose to the New York Giants.
All right. I think that the Colts will go in there and get a win that the Giants want to lose at that point, and the Colts maybe are still in the hunt for something and have something to play for. So I think they win it 2 in a row now. I have them.
Yeah. Last game of the season is the Jaguars. Jaguars play the Jets, Raiders, and Titans before us, and obviously we're the last game, so they have nothing to prepare for after us.
Right. I am going to say once again that the Colts have something to play for here, and maybe they're in a win and in situation, and they need to get the Jaguars back So I think they win 3 in a row to end the season. That's what I have.
I think they win this game to end it off. I think the Jaguars won't need anything, and I think we'll need something. So kind of get that going for us.
All right. That puts me having them at an 8-9 record to end the season.
What
I believe.
are you're counting the Vikings game?
Oh, sorry. I guess that leaves me with an 8-8 as it stands, and then you'll have to come back Friday to figure out whether I have them winning or losing against the Vikings.
And I have a 9-7 record, not including the Vikings game.
All right. Sounds good. 1 game difference. It's a lot closer than it was earlier.
It's true. It's true.
Well, that is it for today. Tomorrow we'll be back with our unstable pick. We'll have Fantasy Stable and our preview of that Colts return to the scene of the crime of the largest comeback in NFL history against the Vikings.
Yeah, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.